Oh, it is just the best. Not the snow, but that noise. Chuck
I was
Gillen's
waiting
right.
for it.
He was waiting for it. It's like Pavlov's dog, right?
No kidding. Just that song. I like that song.
I know, right? We've got to always have that in there somehow. My team was talking about as we are getting ready to debut our new set and change some things up. They're like, "Oh, we can change the intro," and I'm like, "Well, then don't take the whistle out and don't take the pop of the cork out. That still has to be there."
It's got to be there. It's wet your whistle. So
That's right. So the reason that we are doing it remote today is because of what you see falling behind us, the snow. So Chuck and I were just talking. How much snow did you get out where you live?
well, not as much as they said, but that's fine.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, maybe 3 to 4 inches. It was just a very, very fine snow,
Yeah, yeah. Well,
easy to get off the driveway, actually.
I was just going to say that our aspiring meteorologist that's on with us every Monday and Friday was using a leaf blower to get the snow off of his driveway.
I couldn't do that, but
No?
I have a little electric blower, and it runs for about 45 minutes, and it's great with 3 to 4 inches. It works
I
fantastic.
don't even know if we got that, which made me very, very happy. A lot of you know we've got this crazy driveway. I think maybe two, maybe if we're
Wow.
lucky. So I was happy, but yeah, we've got viewers that are from all over. So let us know wherever you are. What did you get? We talked about that this morning, and there was a lady who lives in St. Francis County. She got about 7 or 8 inches, and
Yeah,
she
they
went
got a
out
lot in here.
and she was doing a snow angel for me. She dropped a comment in with a snow angel. It was cold. She said it was cold on her butt.
It is cold.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Dangerously cold still is, by the way. So just be careful if you are going out this evening or into tomorrow. But I'm looking forward to next week. We're going to look like we're having spring. We're going to get up near 60 degrees next week.
Crazy.
That's winery weather.
Yeah, that'll help business.
I hope so. So we're going
Yes,
to talk
it will.
about a lot of things that are coming up at Defiance Ridge Vineyards. By the way, if you have not been there, I want you to get there. You can also go to their website, defianceridgevineyards.com, and then go to the calendar of events, and it'll give you a rundown of things that are coming up. We're going to let you know about a handful of things. One of those is a cellar dinner series that we're going to talk about, but also your trivia that you have this weekend. You've got two really awesome ones, Star Wars and Friends, but those are sold out, right?
They're back to back and they're sold out. It's great idea having these things. It really helps us this time of year. And
Yeah.
I would tell you, we get 40, 41, 42 teams for each event.
How
And
much fun.
and I hear it gets pretty rambunctious and a lot of stuff going on. People get a little upset when their answers aren't right and they think they're right.
Yep.
And so anyhow, it's a good thing to do. And we're going to keep doing them once we get this new building built.
Yes. So what's tell us a little bit more about that. What's the projected timeline of all that?
Well, we hope to start sometime in June, late June.
Okay.
We kind of got the preliminary budget in house and working with the bank, and should have the drawings finished fairly soon. We're going to meet with our builder next week and start working on some finishes. But I'm very excited about this. This is going to be a fantastic venue. Allow us to have all our events, very high end events, hold up to 250, 300, and a high ceiling barn like venue that'd be really really cool.
Beautiful. And again, if you've never been, Defiance Ridge Vineyards, down off of Highway 94, as you are coming down and coming around the turn, again, the very first winery that you will come up to. We'd highly recommend you try it out if you've never been, and then let us know what wine did you get, what food did you get, because we want you to stay, immerse yourself in a great time. Beautiful music that you have as well. I was just scrolling through your calendar and I said, "Oh, you got Steve Ewing coming," and you said, "Oh, do I?"
Oh yeah, you know,
You have
I
so much going on. Well, Trevor
farmer,
does that for you, right?
but I know when my farmhouse dinners are, my cellar dinners, and hey, I got a copy of our concert series here that's going to start in May.
Yeah, so
And
talk about that
Devin's
because
doing a great job with that.
that's not on your calendar yet. So tell
But
us
yeah,
more about that.
we're going to have it up pretty soon because we're going to do the first month. We're going to have early bird tickets and give a little discount off to, and so the venue will hold up to 600-700 people for each event, and they start May 2nd
Okay.
with that '80s band, which
Oh,
does a great job for us, and then the Mighty Pines and had the Jimmy Buffett band and Fleetwood Mac and a Styx tribute. All that's in May.
That's fun. Yeah, that 80s band, I actually have a friend who plays a drum in that, Johnny Malaya's. We know him
Uh-huh.
really well. I know they have a big draw.
So we've I think we got them booked all the way through August, and we'll have a few more in September, and we've got 2 or 3 more to book for that.
Again,
So
go to the calendar of events on their website, defianceridgevineyards.com. Again, as Chuck was mentioning, they've got these great cellar dinner series. The last time we were with you, we visited, and I loved him. It's definitely one of my favorites. Terry Wakefield was so incredible to visit with, and you talked about that chocolate wine pairing dinner. You don't have that on the website yet, too.
no, I'm waiting on Terry. I'm waiting on Terry.
Okay,
He'll have me something soon.
April
I know
15th, though, right?
April 15th. That is correct. I gotta give him a little jingle and see where we're going on it.
Do that because I
He
am.
wants to do a back-to-back dinner,
Oh,
or
two
each month,
nights. Oh, oh,
two
oh, oh, oh,
nights,
oh.
month to month, back to back.
Okay, so April 15th, though, that's one that just seems so very unique and exciting because this is a guy who is the chief chocolate officer.
And he's
So he knows what he's talking about.
he's very intelligent, A, and B, very entertaining.
Yes. Do you
Knows.
know how long we stayed there, by the way?
Oh, I hear you stayed a while.
We did. We stayed and had the best time with Terry and his wife. Had an incredible dinner, by the way. My
Good,
mom had your pot roast.
good.
That normally I was like, oh, that's so not like my mom, but it's we're talking about snowy weather and cold weather, so
Chris
it just
makes a
was
great
fitting.
pot roast. She
Yes.
really does.
And then I think they had your fried chicken, and I had the shrimp and grits, which was unbelievable.
Good.
Yes, so incredible food. So if you've never been for dinner, you have to go because it's a different experience than going for lunch and having these boards, which are amazing. But when you look at that dinner menu, I was blown away. I do want to talk about the cellar dinner series that you have coming up. So that is next Tuesday. Are there still tickets for this?
Yes, there are. We have probably 6 or 8 tickets left.
Okay,
Uh, it's a fun night, very entertaining with presentation of fantastic wines from my cellar. And Chris puts together an incredible dinner, and it's wines you can't get because they're just not around.
right.
It'll be a nice evening.
So I've got it in front of me for those of you that want to know, well, what will we have that night? Mini crab cakes that they're going to serve with a champagne, a 2015, is it Gosset?
Gossett.
Gosset champagne. Second
Yes.
course, seared scallops with spinach, parmesan, mushroom risotto. Yum. 2018, is it Fapoli?
Fopoli, yes.
Fapoli, haven't heard of these. Fapoli Chardonnay. Then the
In
third
fact,
course
I have a Sauvignon Blanc out tonight with
from
Fopoli.
from there. Where are they located?
They're in Sonoma,
In Sonoma.
but
Okay.
the Sauvignon Blanc, they make two of them. One is Napa based, the other one is Sonoma based. The one that I'm tasting today is Napa based.
Napa based. Okay. And then you're going to do a seared duck breast with a cherry Pinot Noir sauce paired with a Pinot Noir, a Penner Ash Pinot Noir from 2017. The fourth course will be steak with a burgundy mushroom sauce. And I love this, a 2012 Pistoni Family Howell Mountain Merlot. I love everything from Howell Mountain. And then you will have the fifth course, which is fluffy shredded pancakes with a plum sauce. And they'll do that with a Chardonnay. So beautiful food, wonderful wines. Again, as he said, very unique. If you want to go to that, they would go and call you or go to the website. How do they get tickets?
Website. Just go
Okay.
to the website and get it. Now, the dessert wine with that last course is
Yes.
actually a dessert Chardonnay.
It's a
Uh,
2001.
yeah, it's I believe it's a German.
I'm not going
Um,
to try. It looks like
oh,
aloe.
it's Alsace. It's Alsace.
It's Alois. Is the is
It's Alsace. It's in eastern France.
aloe? It looks like Alloy Crocker Nouvelle Vogue.
And there's not very
Chardonnay.
much of this around. So I have not even tasted this. I bought
Oh,
it at an auction a few years ago,
okay.
and I've got 3 or 4 bottles of it, and I'm looking forward to it. It's got a great rating, and we'll see.
So we talk sometimes, by the way, with Chuck Gillentine, owner of Defiance Ridge Vineyards, about these big cellars series that they have that are more unique, and they have them in the tasting room area. It's more intimate, and then the big farmhouse dinners as well. So if you've been to one of the bigger dinners and not to the intimate one, here's an opportunity for you. Again, if you've never joined us on a Wet Your Whistle Wednesday, welcome. Kathy just said, I'm thirsty, Monica. Please recommend a red wine. Okay, a red wine. Kathy wants you to recommend a red wine not too dry, so semi. What would you tell her? A Pinot Noir?
Oh, most certainly, yes.
There you go.
Yeah, or Sangiovese, something like that. But for me, it would be Pinot Noir.
So, and that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today. So we've got Sauvignon Blanc and a Pinot Noir. And then you were talking about doing roasted asparagus and
It's
pairing
right
that
here.
with your Sauvignon Blanc, right?
Yes, look, this is my
Oh, he's such a
my
good
dish
cook.
I made. It's actually roasted asparagus and mushrooms
Yum.
with a little bit of shredded Parmesan on it.
Delish.
And I did that just to give the red wine a chance.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
because asparagus is probably the hardest vegetable to pair.
I was going to
And,
say.
and normally, a crisp Sauvignon Blanc works with it real well,
Because
or light fruity Pinot. But
it can be
more,
bitter, right?
yes, oh yes, it can be bitter, and the lightness and the fruitiness of the Sauvignon Blanc and its acid usually works well with it. Now, to that point, I decided to open up a really big Sauvignon Blanc.
Oh,
You
where's
look
it
at the
from?
color; it's very dark,
Where's it
and
from?
it's the Falapi.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah,
it's this
show us the bottle. We usually
this
like showing the bottles.
bottle right
There you
here.
go. Okay.
And it is it over it powers it's too much for the asparagus.
Oh, you already
So
did the pairing. You tasted it. It
I
was too
already
much.
tasted it just to see how it would work, and the Pinot actually works better with it.
Oh,
The,
interesting.
well, the mushrooms and the Parmesan with the Pinot, with a lighter Pinot, and the Pinot actually is a 2011 Dusky Goose Oregon Pinot.
What's it
Got
called? Dusty Goose?
Dusky Goose. I love the label.
I do too.
It is one of my favorite wineries on Dundee Hill in Oregon, and they make incredible lighter Pinots, very Oregon style, and it works extremely well with the dish.
So Kathy's, again, looking for a good red wine. So it's also about different price points. So if someone's saying, okay, hey, can you give me one that would be good at under $20 a bottle? Because a lot of people think if they're going to be drinking good wine that they have to spend an, exorbitant amount of money, but that's not always the case. A lot of times.
Well, it's gonna, finding an under $20 bottle of Pinot, it can be tough. I
Yep.
mean, you can find the big brands, Mark West, maybe uh, maybe even Joey Wagner's wine.
Okay.
They're a bigger Pinot, but they're cheaper.
Okay.
They make so much of it that and it's everywhere. His Pinot or his ex Pinot used to be Maomi used to be the Wagner Pinot.
Maomi. So here's the thing, and Chuck knows this about me. I used to like Pinot Noirs, and then all of a sudden my palate changed, and I always like to be introduced. He introduced me to some of the best that I've had, but I don't typically go to Merlots, Malbec, Pinot Noir. I'll do a little Maomi with you today. I didn't open up a Sauvignon Blanc because we're running off to a meeting after this, but I was like, I'm going to do a little Pinot with him. So I'm going to toast you on the screen.
I can tell that's a much darker than
Yes.
than
Yes.
mine. Look how much
I
lighter
know.
my
And
Pinot.
that's what I love is that they're always not as, that's why you want to always do different tastings and ask different questions because they're all so very different. So Kathy, good question. If anybody has any, by the way, for Chuck, let us know. Gordon just said, I'm having lunch there on Tuesday with clients. Fantastic. A lot of you are saying how much snow you got. 4 inches of snow in St. Peter's. Happy wine day. Yesterday actually was National Wine Drinking Day.
National Wine Day. Yep. And
I said they missed it by a day. It should have been today. Hey, Monica, it's me, Suresh. Oh my gosh, Suresh, how are you? Suresh is a young guy that I met at a 7-Eleven 2 years ago, and he just started watching the show. We love it. I've been great. Good to see you as well. Not so bold, yes. So Kathy said she doesn't like drinking a bolder red wine, which that's what a lot of people say. That they're not ready for it yet.
well, then I would suggest to find a good Oregon Pinot.
Okay.
There's a lot of them, or they're in the mid-20s that you can buy,
Yeah.
and they're lighter and they're not big heavy fruit as some of the bolder Kappa Sonoma wine. Sorry.
But here's what might happen for you, Kathy. I used to say, oh, okay, I don't really like red wine. And this was like when I'm in my late 20s, early 30s. And then I started getting introduced again from a Pinot Noir standpoint. But always keep an open mind, because some of you may think, oh, I don't like big wines. I don't like big Cabernets. I don't like Italian or French or from different countries, until you have the right pairings. And that's one of the things, if you're new to Wet Your Whistle Wednesday, we have fun. And a lot of times we're together. We're not together, obviously, today because of the snow. But what Chuck and a lot of the people that he's had on as guests have been able to do for us is introduce us to wines that we thought maybe we wouldn't like until we do the pairing. So he's got asparagus and he's pairing it with a Sauvignon Blanc and a Pinot Noir, but he said the Pinot worked better. Roasted with, what do you have on top? A little Parmesan cheese?
A little Parmesan, and I have marshmallows, mushrooms also. Here it is
Marshmallows,
again.
that would be interesting.
Yeah,
That
that
looks
would be
delicious.
interesting.
That looks delish. Okay, we also wanted to talk about, so he provided me with some really interesting articles, and we want to talk about where the wine industry is going. So the increases, the brands that are doing really well, but then also some problematic aspects of overproduction that has driven wineries to take out vineyards by the thousands. What's going on here, Chuck?
I think it's just that the bulk wine market has grown and grown, and the weather, and on the West Coast in California especially, they've had many good years of just overgrowth of the grapes. I mean, just they've made so much, and all the new players that came on over the last 10 or 15 years, it's just created a lot. And if now you look like people like us in Missouri, where our wine business, I would think, has been on the downturn,
Yeah,
just because we've had several wineries sold in the St. Genevieve area, or not in business anymore,
right.
and some of the other things that's gone on out in our area. Uh, but you look at that list, and it appears that Cabernet is there's so much Cabernet planted that it's been hard to move. And Mr. Wagner told me the other day that he's getting calls from so many growers, just begging to take his Cabernet,
Wow.
and their business is still growing. But he said, I just can't take it.
Yeah,
And then that's an interesting. You see the top brands,
right.
and as much as I like to brag on the Wagner family, there's several brands in there that are his, or there's Conundrum, there's Camus, there's also the Quilt is his son, and Austin is a company he used to do business with, or still has some ownership in. And then you have Bonanza.
Mhm.
I mean, they're still a growing company.
I did not know that Quilt was a relative of
It's
Camus.
it's Joey Wagner's. Is his son Joey Wagner's winery.
So I thought Quilt was with Quintessa family.
No, Quilt.
Oh,
Quilt
interesting.
is made by Joey, and he's got several kind of labels like that.
Okay, see, this is the education that we all need. So again, top growers doing well, but we want to see it continue to do well and not wipe out thousands and thousands of acres.
Well,
Again,
it's mainly in California. I mean, the Oregon business is growing. So is Washington State.
yeah.
I think there were just so many vineyards planted in California that it may be a good thing to take out. And I think they've taken out like 37,000 acres or something like that.
Right. Well, so the Allied Grape Growers president made a plea for the industry to remove thousands of acres of vines to help the right size imbalanced market, saying removing 50,000 acres was his recommendation, and that will likely to continue to be until the demand stabilizes.
Yeah, and from what I understand, it's the younger age drinkers that need to catch up. you
You know,
know,
that's a good question. Somebody asked me the other day, when you have Chuck on, ask him if he sees like 20 something year olds switching to not drinking as much wine. Are they drinking more beer? Are they drinking spirits? I see this big push for bourbons. Everybody's talking about drinking different
that's true.
bourbons, right?
Bourbons is certainly a push. Being that we are a winery, but we sell our beer sales were up 25% last year.
Wow.
That's big.
Yeah.
It's really big. And uh, our mixed drink sales were up quite a bit too. Our wine sales were up like 6%. So I'm not complaining about that. Uh, and getting people in the door is what we're concerned about.
Right. Right.
Now you go to our tasting room though, and our
Yeah.
tasting room uh, tastings were just about they were flat from
Really?
year to year.
So if people are coming in and they're new to your winery, are they just coming in and then just ordering a glass or ordering a bottle and just bypassing the tasting altogether?
Well, I think people that have been there, which a lot of people come back, just bypass the tasting room, get a table, and know what
Yeah.
they want.
Yeah.
We love for people to go through the tasting room just so.
Everything's
And
so new all the time.
well, true. And this year will be, we have new things coming in again this year. Different winemakers from the West Coast, and in fact, we were supposed to bottle last week but they had a major rainstorm, and now they're bottling next Monday. But we had three new wines coming from Sonoma,
Mhm.
and then everything else is normally from our who we work with.
Right. So what is the biggest month for you? Is it October? I used to always hear May and October were big months for wineries in our area,
It's May, October, and September.
and September as well. Okay.
And September can be as big.
Mhm.
Um, if you have a little cooler weather early, it is.
Yeah.
Um, but May and October is always the biggest, and then May is in September are close to each other.
This is one of the things I want to make sure you all know, because there are people who say, "Oh my gosh, I would love to go and have a wonderful bottle of wine, sit by a fireplace, see the snow out there glistening, but I didn't know wineries were open in the winter." Not all are, but you absolutely are.
We are, and haven't been the last 2 days, but this is the first. I think the first time in a long time we've had 6 days this year that we've closed.
Are you close?
Um, and we'll be open tomorrow, so I'm sure we got everything cleaned up, and I think Cesar and his guys are getting that done.
Um,
Uh, he lives out by you, in fact, I think.
oh, really? Down south?
Yeah.
Fantastic. I just popped over to Instagram really quick, and Toby said, "Could you recommend a wine not too dry, but a little dry?" You know what I mean. Not too dry, but a little dry. You know what I mean. um, we talked about a Pinot Noir earlier, Toby. How about a good blend? Could you recommend a good blend for him?
Well, blends are usually pretty big, because they're Cabernet Merlot, uh, and normally. Now, if you get a blend from Central Coast,
Yeah,
maybe not as big, because you're and it's usually not as expensive either.
yeah,
You just gotta your the wines are made out of they get more per ton in that area than they get say in Napa, where they really concentrate on much more expensive wines. But again, your Pinot Noir. Really jammy Zinfandels. They're big,
yeah. They
but
are big.
they're not tannic, and they can be fun to drink. And but I would lean that way because Syrahs are usually pretty big,
They're big. Petite
uh,
Sirahs are big.
and Petite Syrahs are big.
You
And
know, and I don't know if it's because my palate has changed so much over the years, Toby, but I love blends. Some of them to me, Chuck, are they call them fruit bombs. That
yeah,
I think that they're so sweet tasting, not sweet, but they're easy drinking blends that I have a tendency to introduce people. Like we were showing the top 100 brand growers earlier, and it's on there. Conundrum. I think Conundrum White and Red is such an easy drinking wine. Do
they
you?
are easy drinking, and they're because they are made with uh, how do you say it? They are sweeter tasting. I
Yes.
mean, and there's a lot of people think there's different ways that they do that, and some people think they do it with adding extract
Right.
and this and that. But from what I'm told from a reliable source, they really ripen their grapes and push that ripened grape so much up there that it makes a big fruit.
Okay.
Um, so
Well, again, and
I'm
again,
sure there's things that I don't know about what some people do, but
yep, yep.
uh, and
I
there's a
just
reason why people drink those brands, because they like something they can drink right now.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think a lot of times, like Toby or Kathy that have asked questions, a lot of times it's you're looking for something to do exactly what Chuck and I are doing, which is just enjoying a glass with a friend, right? And not having to have to necessarily do a pairing. They're just looking like, hey, can we just sit down and start to have a glass before we decide to start having something to eat? That's where I have a tendency to come back. So I was introduced to a wine that reminds me so much of Conundrum back when I was in Dana Point, California. I'm going to say 13, 14 years ago. It was called Freak Out. Did you ever have that wine?
I've heard of the label, but I don't know if I've had it,
I
but
don't
I've
know if they make it anymore, but then all of a sudden I got introduced to Conundrum White, and I swear it tasted so similar. So if anybody had that before, by the way, or if you can find it, I'd love to try it again.
I'm
But I
sure it was a
do,
blend.
yeah, it was a blend for sure. So I always have a tendency, if somebody's over here, I'll say, well, here, try this. And they have, there's a lot of people that have said, oh, I was never really a red wine drinker, but I like that. So Chuck will introduce you to a Pinot Noir. I might introduce you to a blend, but not a big blend, right? Not,
Conundrum. The red conundrum is pretty sweet. Um,
yeah.
the white conundrum the same. The white conundrum probably has a little bit of Vidal Blanc in it,
Oh, really?
which is
Which
a
I love.
local grape.
Yeah.
Chuck planted, I think, 500, 5 to 10 acres, or what was it, 500 acres, think of
Of Pinot
Vidal
Blanc.
many years ago,
Wow.
from one of his trips here. Um, I have pictures of being in that vineyard, and but I'm sure they put it in the conundrum because they wouldn't do it on its own
Yeah. Um,
as a varietal.
and for all of you that are watching live or when you watch this later, do us a favor of obviously hit hashtag replay, but feel free to tell us where's your favorite wine region. I have an idea of something that I want to do coming up on a future show because I'm hearing a lot of this. I'm seeing it on social media and people are talking about, which is what I mentioned to you when I came back from Italy. They're all talking about not drinking wine from United States and saying we're going to go away because they're putting this in the wines or that in the wines and this is what's causing headaches and this is why you feel so horrible afterwards. So there was a big show that I saw about a week ago. I don't know whether it was on the news in another state or if I just scrolled on Instagram, and it was talking about all these people saying don't drink. There was like I think it was a physician, and he was saying don't drink California wines. In fact, don't drink wines from the United States. Drink wines from Italy. Drink wines from France. And I was like, whoa, now they're going to start taking everything away from the United States. There's a reason, obviously. I understand what he's talking about and where they think it comes from. But so I want to throw that to you, though, from someone who obviously works in the industry. If you see more and more and more of that on social media, and again, people are giving power to whoever that source is, what would you say back to them about why they think it's causing problems for us from a health aspect?
Well, I think it all goes back down to what we're doing right now,
Yeah, yeah,
and
education.
and what's been going on the last couple of weeks. It needs to be governed better, probably,
Yep.
and how we make wine. Um, they talk about the sulfites and this and that.
And was it
The
glyphosate?
rules are
Glyphosate?
much easier here, from what I understand, than Europe.
Yep.
Um, and I'm sure they've got everything down from history and hundreds of years of winemaking
Yep.
of how to do it without a lot of rain and a lot of this and that. And they didn't have it back then, uh, but then it seems like what we get here is, unless you got an in with a broker or somebody of finding things, is I don't want to say second tiered, but you may get producers that are big producers, but you don't get wines from the little guys that make the best wines in the world,
Right.
and because they just don't ship them out to
Yep.
the U.S. And now with all the tariff talk, I'm sure that's going to get worse
Yep.
instead of better.
Yep.
But hopefully, what RFK Jr. is going to do is going to help us a lot, and
Well, and we need that.
I'm looking so forward to that.
I am as well. And there's a woman actually that's going to be coming on my show. Her manager's getting it set up for us. But she went and she was on the the legislative floor and was talking about what we're putting in our foods, what we're putting in our drinks, and the problems that we're having. And this is obviously what RFK is standing about. But I think she was talking about glyphosate, which we hear a lot with farming. And
Yeah.
that's what they're saying is in our wine. And
Well,
that's what
if
they're
it's
claiming is
spread,
causing health
it's
problems.
spread. It's somehow it's going to be something in there. I
Yep.
mean,
Yep.
you harvest a grape and you crush that grape. You don't, and hopefully all the rain cleans things, but
Right.
you think the alcohol production wise of turning into alcohol gets rid of a lot of stuff. And I've seen productions where you sometimes what is picked, especially by a harvester, you get everything. You don't get just a grape; you get everything that is in those vines,
Yeah.
uh, and going through the process, you pick things out. But there's a lot of times that you just don't know what goes in.
Well, and that's obviously, as we just mentioned, I mean, things are needing to change in our country. And so we don't want you to stop supporting, obviously, the United States. And as this person was saying, so I thought it was very careless of this person like I said, that was on social media, but they had a huge response, had a huge following. And I'm like, you're blasting the United States. You're trying to take money away from us. And great, go ahead and buy Italian wines and French wines, but do it in a combination of supporting the United States as well. But yes, hopefully RFK and others in higher aspects of government will start looking at what are we doing that is compromising our health, and can we pull from what they're doing in Italy? So yes, when you're drinking wine in Italy and then all of a sudden you're like, well, I feel fine. What's the difference? There's a big difference.
Well, honestly, I don't have an issue with any of it, so I can't
You
speak.
you don't get headaches and stuff like that from
I
really?
do not.
I do see a
I
difference
never
when
have, and I guess I'm lucky on
you
that.
are
But
lucky.
and
Because
and I drink European wines quite a bit.
yep.
Probably 30% of the wines I drink are European wines.
And then 70% from US.
Yeah, but
So
I drink a lot of champagne and
yeah,
Pinot Noirs that are. I don't drink a lot of big reds, and that could be part of the problem because
that might be.
now that's one the big reds I could see.
Yep.
Uh,
That
I
might
can't
be it.
drink much of it. I can drink a glass or two, and that's it.
So that might be it. That's a good I'm glad we just brought that up because yes, I do lean more towards Cabernets and blends and Syrahs and things like
You
that.
you,
So
you like big reds.
yep. So maybe that's it. But here's the crazy thing because I can never pinpoint it. I will have no issues. And then all of a sudden, I might have a half a glass of wine with my husband for dinner, and I will wake up the next day and go, "Gosh, I got a raging
That's
headache."
that's crazy.
It is, and you can't figure out the region. So trying to look into all that. But yeah, I mean that these are all future shows that we can do because there's a lot of talk about this right now of what's going into our
I've been in many wineries, and they are extremely clean.
yeah,
And production is exquisite, and they do everything as clean as they can,
yep.
and they're pristine. Uh, so don't think that for a minute that
Yeah.
these wineries out there don't take care of their product, and they do.
Let me
I mean,
ask you this:
they really do.
do you carry Round Pond, or you ever do anything with Round Pond?
I've been to Round Pond, and I I've got a couple uh, later in year dinners I want to do with some outside people, and Round Pond may be one that we reach out to.
Well, here's why I would want you to, because I saw something on their Instagram page the other day, and they are doing a wine. They just actually reached out to me a little bit ago. They're doing a wine that 50% of the proceeds go to help Alzheimer's research. And they've got a label that they were asking people to submit pictures of someone who has been affected by Alzheimer's, dementia, and they're putting that all over the label. I think it made me cry because my husband's father passed away from Alzheimer's or dementia. I don't know that it was ever actually completely diagnosed, but you just think of anybody that's gone through that. And so they're doing that. And it made me tear up. And I love that idea. So I told them, I was like, let's do something. So maybe we can bring them on a future Wet Your Whistle and do something together.
Well, that's a good thought because a friend of mine had brought their name up to me uh, about why don't we try to get a hold of Round Pond
Yeah. They have
and
great wine.
yeah.
I like so a lot of you are always looking for a wine that's not so expensive. Their Kith and Kin, I love. Have you had that?
I probably have. I've been there twice, so I'm
Yeah.
sure I've had it.
Yep. So,
In fact, both times I was there, the service wasn't very good.
oh,
Uh,
really?
yeah, and
Huh.
what happens,
Yep.
and
You
it
get that.
kind of makes your experience. And well, the wine wasn't that good either. Uh, but anyhow,
Well, what
I
I
know
love,
they're very close. They're in Rutherford,
yeah, I
very
just
very
like
close to some of my favorite places.
collaborations and people that are wanting to do good things and again giving back to good charities. But if there's anything, by the way, that you would like to see me and Chuck talk about or collaborate with, before we wrap up, we talked about it last time. You have a big trip that you're collaborating on that's going to be later in the fall. I want to know if you know how tickets are selling for your event in France.
Um, I I don't know how the boat's selling. I know that we've got, I think, around 12 couples signed up.
Oh, I love it.
Um, we're still waiting to book our airfare because about a month ago it had a good price on it, and I reacted too late, and prices have gone up like 60% since then.
Yeah.
And again, who knows why? Maybe with everything going on in the world right now, but anyhow, no, it should be a great event. Flying into Paris, we bus to the West Coast. We spend a couple days, visit Normandy,
So
and
cool.
then we board a riverboat on the Seine and come back to Paris, and we spend a couple days in Paris, and then we fly home.
Yep.
And I think it's like the 15th or the 25th through the 5th or something like that.
Yep, I'm bringing up your page right now. Again, if you're just tuning in, let me reintroduce my guest, Defiance Ridge Vineyards owner Chuck Gillentine. It is Saturday, October 18th
18th
through
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 20th.
Saturday, October 25th,
Yeah.
the Seine and Paris River Cruise with Defiance Ridge Vineyards. And we talked a little bit
And
about it.
there's a
At,
couple days early that you can go because I think we're going
right.
10 days.
Yeah, so when you look at that, it can be tacking on either before or after. If you want to spend a little bit of time after or before, a little bit longer, maybe in Paris, etc., that you can do that. Did Terry and his wife sign up?
I don't know. I need to ask Cindy, the trip organizer, if she's heard from anybody else.
Okay, because we were discussing it when we were there a couple weeks ago, and I looked at my mom and I said, all you need to do is tell me you want to do it because I want to do a mother-daughter getaway, and she's never
Well,
been to Paris.
you know what? That would be, and you get to see things. I don't know if have you been to Normandy?
I have not. I've never been to
Yeah.
France.
I mean, well, I've been to France, but I've never been to Normandy, and I really would love to do that. That's always been on my bucket list.
That's
So,
on Jim's bucket list.
you know,
So he was like, he said to me, Chuck, he goes, "Wait, you're going to go to Normandy?" And I was like, "Do you want to come too?"
well, let him come. You know, he can hang out with us guys. You know,
Yes, yes. Well, he knows I want to.
we got a good group on this.
He
Looks
knows I want to do a mother-daughter getaway, but I do think it probably needs to be mother-daughter and son-in-law.
well. I can only think that I went up the Rhone several years ago, and we started in Avignon and went all the way up into Burgundy, and the trip was marvelous. The French country folks are fantastic. Uh, and it was a trip of a lifetime for me, and I got to see wine things that I always wanted to see, you
Yep.
know, and so these are great trips.
Again, if you want to find this, go to defianceridgevineyards.com, go to the calendar, scroll down, and you'll see the Seine and Paris River Cruise with Defiance Ridge Vineyards. Again, Saturday, October 18th through Saturday, October 25th. If you can make it happen, we would love it. So Mom and I are still talking. I'm going to talk with Jim about this. I would really love to make it happen because remember, folks, and I'm going to wrap up with this. Life gets in the way. You miss out on great opportunities. and you think that you save things and, oh, I'll do it. I'll put it on my bucket list and I'll do it next year, next year, next year. It's the same thing that I learned when I went to Napa for the very first time. And I will tell you that it was actually at Camus after we did our tasting. They said, Monica, go back home after your trip here and drink your good wine. Don't save it for
That's, you
another
know
day.
what? They say that to everybody out there, and Camus is great at doing that
I
because
agree
their
with them.
wines are ready to drink now. So
Yes. And you don't know that you're promised another 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. So make memories with good wine and good friends. All right. Toast
okay,
me on the screen.
okay, let's do the reds. There you go.
Cheers to you again.
My glass looks familiar.
I know. I was waiting for you to
Isn't
say
that a
that.
great glass? Isn't it a
Chuck,
great glass?
Chuck gifted me this incredible glass that I won't let anybody else drink out of.
Yeah. I broke one finally.
Oh no.
Well, it was, and I did it, so I can't blame it. But
Exactly.
the stem broke. I kept the glass. I got to
It's so
figure out a
beautiful.
way to.
What are the type of glasses these are again? What's the name?
Oh my
You remember?
goodness!
You, I
It
put you on the spot. I
no,
forgot. I
it's
forgot.
not dementia.
That's okay. So again, Pinot Noir and a Sauvignon Blanc. Try it with a little roasted asparagus with a little Parmesan on top. That's what Chuck did today.
If you just do the roasted asparagus, the Sauvignon Blanc should be great. But
And put
if you
okay,
add some mushrooms and little cheese on it, just makes
and
it.
then put it with the Pinot.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Toby just said, I'll give it a shot. Oh, okay. We were talking about the blend earlier. Thanks so much. You are very welcome. He had Freak Show. He said, I love Freak Show. 10 years ago, I was really into it, but I grew out of it. I don't like it anymore. Yeah. I don't even know if they're making it anymore, by the way. But so
I
this is
wrote
the
it
thing.
down. I got to see
Freak
if
Show.
there's anything online about it.
If you can get a bottle, I would love to try it again because you know how it is. You get introduced to a wine and you're in a beautiful area. I mean, here I am sitting in Lodi, right? In beautiful Dana Point, California.
Is
So
that where you drank it? So it probably was Zinfandel related.
it it was no, it was a white blend.
Oh, it was a white blend. Okay,
Yes.
so
So
it
it's
was.
similar to the white conundrum.
Okay, so it's probably had Chardonnay in it, a lot of Chardonnay, because that's what they grow. They grow a lot of Chardonnay
Yeah.
and then
I think so because
Cabernet.
well, and again, you're sitting there by the water and you've got incredible seafood. And so the person said, do you want to try Freak Show? I'm like, well, that just sounds fun. So yes, let's do it. And I actually loved it and started buying it. And then I didn't really see it anymore. So I don't know if it's still out there or not. But if someone comes to Defiance Ridge Vineyards, do you have a white and a red blend?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we do. And
All right.
but our white blend is Missouri.
Oh, and
Um,
what's the grapes?
it's Vidal. It's got a little Traminette, little Sauvignon Blanc, and it's good.
That sounds
It's
good.
good. It's
Those are
really good.
grapes I like.
You know
I
the white grapes in Missouri get
are
a
fabulous.
they're fantastic.
I agree.
They are really fantastic.
What
You
is
know,
the blend that you have? The red blend you have?
a red blend is Cab Merlot, Cab Franc. It's a true red blend.
And where's that one from?
It's This one is from Washington State.
Okay. So that's me. If you all ask me, because
But we
sometimes
have a new one that's coming. We'll be in a couple of weeks, and it is be Sonoma based.
Sonoma based, okay.
Yeah.
Because I will get some emails sometimes after our wet your whistles, and people will say, "Well, what do you like? What do you drink with your husband?" And sometimes I'll be posting different pictures. Where's that from? So again, me, I love blends, but I have had some of the most incredible wines during our shows with Chuck that he's
Blends are very
introduced.
popular.
Yes,
Very popular.
yes. But again, if you are looking for good wine, good food, an incredible staff. I want you to go and support those that support us when you're looking at going to a winery in our area. Right there, it's Defiance Ridge Vineyards. That's where I want you to go. Go to their website. A lot of wonderful music coming up, wonderful dinners coming up, just a great time. When you put the tickets on sale for your chocolate and your wine dinner on April 15th, you got to let me know because Jim and I are buying tickets right away. And my mom said she wants to come too.
Well, I need to get a hold of Terry immediately because
Tell them to get on it.
we should have something by now.
All right.
Okay.
Well, cheers to you. Tell
Thank
Michelle
you.
I said hi,
Okay, will
and
do. Thank you, babe.
look forward to seeing you in person
Tell
next time.
tell Jim hello.
I will. All right.
Okay.
Go wet your whistle, everybody.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.